one hand on count and one on suit preference, and try to leave enough time to play boards here. So, it's hard sometimes with count because you're trying to, it is partnership choice as to, how much count you play, how much attitude you play. And I just think it's easiest if we identify probably the most common situation where count becomes really important. And not that it isn't important against suits, but I would say it's probably more important against no trump. And even then, a lot of times when we, if we get too concerned about giving accurate count in the suits the opponents are attacking as they play the hand, sometimes it can be problematic, right? If we're carding honestly with count all the time, we might be helping out the declarer. And so a lot of times to be honest, I don't worry too much about giving accurate count. And somebody that I knew from years ago in Kansas City said, well, we give count when it matters. So then the next question is, well, how do we know when it matters? Right? So take this hand here where the opponents are in north-south or in 3-no. Again, a simple auction, 1 no by south, 3 no by north. With an opening lead from partner of the king of spades. Or it could be fourth best spade. Let's make it fourth best since we said with king, queen, nothing, that's a better lead. Okay. So the defense starts out this way. Small spade, and declarer has ace third opposite 10 third, right? So they only have one spade stop, provided you don't do anything silly on defense and set up another one. So small, and you're going to play third hand high with your jack, right? And when your jack holds, looking at the ace and dummy, we figure, hey, maybe partner's gotten off to a good lead here, right? Because if declarer had the king or queen, they would probably win that trick, right? There wouldn't be much reason to hold up. They would probably win the trick and most likely start going after dummy's long suit, which, by the way, you have the ace of clubs, right? So those clubs and dummy aren't good until your ace is out. Now, you should love partner's lead here, especially if you think partner has led from king-queen. Why is this such a great lead? Aside from it's declarer's weakest suit.
It's declarer's on the entry. Hearts is
going to work on that dummy entry, right? So I hope that you are returning a spade. I would return the 9. This is a kind of another nuance about count, is that we are actually not giving upside down count when we lead it back. We give standard present count. So, right, you don't lead back the 3 at this stage. You go ahead and lead back your big one.
So say it again.
Yeah.
About 3 more times.
Yeah. What? So when you return the suit that partner has led, you don't return upside down by existing count, right? Like you've won your jack, and so you might think, okay, well, I have 2 cards left in the suit. I should lead the 3 to give upside down current count, right? Right? You've already used your jack. You have 2 cards left in the suit. But you normally just go back to standard count here. And again, usually, a lot of times you'd want to get, especially if your card is bigger, like what if you had the 10? I think you would, you would play the 10 at trick 1, and then you would play the jack, right? And again, this is also kind of part of the unblocking process for partner. Okay, so you win the jack, you return the 9. All right, your partner wins the queen. Now they know what's going on. They lead their other small one to knock out dummy's ace. Okay, so we've gone spade, spade, spade. So you've got 2 spade tricks in the bank, and dummy's ace is gone. And so all dummy has left is this club suit, right? Now, theoretically, that could be 4 winners for declare, because they won't get the ace, but they'll get the other cards. Declare could start attacking the clubs from the dummy. I suppose if they really wanted, they could cross to their hand and lead toward the club. That's probably best, just in case the ace is like onside, singleton or doubleton, something like that. But they can probably play big. Actually, we gave you the 9 and 8, didn't we? So you can actually play small from the dummy. So let's do that. All right, so declare plays the deuce. You're playing second hand low, but you are giving count. Now, it's not your count that is so important. It's partner's count that is important. Why is it important?
Because you need to know when to play.
When do you take your ace? On this particular deal, if you hold up twice and only win it in the third round when you're forced to, you're probably fine. But you can know for sure that it's right to wait until the third round when partner gives you count, right? Because dummy has 5 clubs, you have 3. There are only 5 other clubs in the deck. If partner has a singleton club and declare actually has 4 little clubs, can you ever cut declare off from the dummy? No. They're going to force your ace out in 3 rounds if they have to and still be able to get to dummy with the club. So you were hopeful that you had killed off dummy so that they couldn't get to club winners over there. You might not be able to do anything about it. However, if declare has 3 and partner has 2, it's very important that you win not the first club, not the second club, but the third club, right? Now declare is going to be stuck in hand, and they are not going to make 3 now. They're going to have to play this out of their hand. Even if they don't go after the clubs right away, even if they think, okay, well, while I'm on the dummy, maybe I should take a heart finesse, right? Because they could do that. Declares on dummy with the ace of spades. They could take a heart finesse, thinking, well, I might need a third heart. And it'll work. The queen of hearts is on side. But they're still in the same spot, right? What if they take the heart finesse and then they go to work on the clubs? How many tricks can they get? 8. Only 8, right? Ace, king, and jack of hearts. Only 2 clubs, because you wait to take it. 2 diamonds and they have a spade. They can't make 3 no. If you defend properly, 3 no is absolutely unmakeable on this hand. So what's going to happen is, so fine. So let's say they take the heart finesse. Because they think I still need a 9th trick. Okay, heart to the jack and it works. Club, out of their hand. All right, we're playing upside down, right? So partner is going to start with the 3. If we were playing standard, partner would start with the 7. Neither one of those cards is going to win a trick, right? You can afford either, so it becomes very important that you give correct count here. So you start with the 3. All right, and let's say they let their 9 ride. And then let's say they play the 8, or small one, whatever, it doesn't matter, overtake with any of those touching honors, right? King, queen, jack, or 10, and you have to refuse your ace again, right? And while that club's getting played and you've seen the 3 and then you've seen the 7, now you know exactly what's going on with the club suit, right? Doesn't matter whether, that declare has another club, because if they play clubs again, you win your ace. And then probably exit with the queen of diamonds when you win it, I imagine, right? That looks pretty natural with queen jack. And declare can't get to dummy to finesse you out of your jack anyhow, right? So this is a safe lead. You're exposing the diamond situation. You're saying, yeah, I probably have queen jack. But if you win the first or second club, declare is going to make 3 no. Because now they get 4 club winners rather than 2, right? It's actually a 2-trick turn. But you've got to know when to hold up. Now, again, you might get that right. If partner's not giving accurate count, you might just decide to hold up till the third round anyhow. But yeah, this is a situation where we can be mathematical about this and give accurate count and make sure that we get it right. If partner shows 3 clubs, it would actually be safe to win the second round. Then it just becomes a matter of, can you trust that partner gave you accurate count? As I say, in this situation, you might get it right anyhow, even if your signaling is off.
Can you show that example where the 3 clubs are in partner's hand, please? Yeah.
All right, so let's give partner 9, 7, 3. We'll take away diamond. And we'll declare what we're going to do with the 6. All right, 8, 6, doubleton. Okay, so South is in hand and plays a club toward the king, queen, jack, 10. So what do you play? The 9, right? You're never winning a trick with the 9, right? You can afford it. Dummy has king, queen, jack, 10. Your 9 is dropping before it ever has a chance to become a winner. So again, why signal ambiguously when you can signal clearly? We're doing upside down. If whether they start with the 8 or the 6, you're going to put in the 9. This is a situation where you're actually playing your biggest card second hand because it's a count situation. Partner's going to look at the 9 and they're going to say, oh, okay, either that's a singleton 9 and declare has 4 clubs and we can't stop the club suit, or it's from an odd number because we're clearly beginning a high-low, right? That is the biggest spot card. Dummy has king, queen, jack, 10. You have the ace. The 9 is the biggest card that you couldn't previously see. Like, well, if declare has 4 clubs, it certainly is never going to hurt me to duck this. So you duck the first one. And then they continue the suit, and partner presumably would follow with the 3. That's a very clear high-low, although hopefully we'd recognize 9 and then 7 as a high-low as well. But again, opportunities to signal as clearly as possible. If partner missed your 9 and they see the 3 the second time, you're like, oh, okay, well, that was the end of a high-low. Odd number, okay. So, again, if that's the situation, theoretically, you could take your ace the second time. But if you don't, is it going away? No, because either declare is going to continue clubs anyhow and force out your ace, or they're going to play on another suit, and eventually you are going to get in with a harder diamond and cash your ace of clubs.
But sometimes if you hold up too many times, it gives them just the right number of tricks because you ducked.
I have occasionally had a hand where I didn't need an entire suit to come in, but I needed 2 tricks from that suit.
Exactly.
And I needed them to not win the first or second round and switch to something else that was a problem for me. So you might do that. I mean, that's possible.
But so if they've given
That's rare, but possible.
accurate count, then I really shouldn't let them take the second club trick. I should really go up with my ace on the second club if I believe my partner's
Yeah,
count.
because it can't cost, right? Because either this is the beginning of a high-low where partner has 3, or in the case where it was singleton 9 and declare has 4 clubs,
Yeah.
you can't cut the dummy off anyhow, right? So yeah, so once you have seen the 9 on the first trick, yes, it would be safe to win the second club trick.
Okay.
And then hopefully when you've decided to do that, you also know what you're going to play next. Because remember, partner led a spade, but they ducked twice, so you have no spades left to get to
Right.
partner. So you're trying to figure out something else to lead to get to your partner's hand. And there, the queen of diamonds turns out to be a really good play because partner's 10 of diamonds is potentially an entry to the 4th spade. If you can work that part out. Any more questions about that?
It's good. It's good.
There are 2, I want to say a couple things about suit preference, and I really want to have time for you to play a few boards here. So I'm going to keep suit preference brief. If need be, we could revisit it for a few minutes next time if you want a little more reinforcement on this. But So one thing that, and I meant to say part of this at the beginning, might as well say it now, because it's a question I get all the time. There is no such thing as upside down leads. There is no such thing as upside down suit preference. That's not to say that it would be illegal to do it if you chose to do it, but I've never seen it in 25 years. I've never heard anyone talk about it. I've never seen anyone play it. For some reason, this is a point of confusion. And we always talk about, and for those of you, a few of you were in defense class earlier this year, we were talking about, remember, we always were separating leads from carding. These are two distinct elements of defense. I have seen, and this has even come up with a couple of partners, where partners started with a small card and then followed with a high card later, and I thought that they had 3 or 4 cards in that suit. I thought they were leading from length, and then it turned out that was a doubleton. And it may not have cost, but I said, well, you always lead big from a doubleton. Why did you lead the 3 and then play the 9 later? And they said, well, upside down. We're doing upside down. Like, no. You're on lead. No such thing as upside down leads. This stuff is making me so angry. I have shouted this till I'm blue in the face. I've gotten the question so many times, and people just refuse to listen. And I even had somebody come up in a class this summer and say, now, I know the answer to this. We've talked about this, but I have to make sure. I have to ask you again. We were playing in a little party bridge thing, and so-and-so led this card, and they said it was the right lead because we play upside down, and they started with the small card on opening lead. But I thought you said there's no such thing as upside down leads. I said, you're right. The other person is wrong. Go find them for me. I want to scream at them that they're wrong. Wrong! No such thing as upside down leads. I don't know how, I can't say that any more clearly. There's no such thing as upside down leads. And along with that, there's no such thing as upside down suit preference.
What about top of nothing?
Well, isn't that what a doubleton lead is?
Well, say I have 3.
I only like, and I think we've talked about this a little, I only like top of nothing against no trump. I don't do it against suits.
Oh.
And that's a count issue. Because if I lead the 9 against a suit contract, partner's going to look at that big spot card, whether I've bid the suit or not. Partner's going to look at that big spot card and think, oh, you're trying for a ruff, right? That's either singleton 9 or it's doubleton 9. Because it doesn't look like it could be from a 3 or 4 card holding, right? So it's very dangerous. I strongly dislike top of nothing leads against suit contracts because it will cause partners sometimes to get the count wrong. All right. Now you might think, well, if I lead a smaller card, partner's going to think I actually have something in the suit, like I'm leading from an honor. And yes, when you lead from that holding, that is a risk you take, but hopefully partner will realize either by what shows up in the dummy or what's in their hand, or what declare wins at trick 1, something like that. Yeah, look, maybe you're just stuck for a lead. So now top of nothing against no trump is a lot easier to decipher because we're using the rule of 11, right? We can figure out, when partner leads a 9 or an 8 against no trump, it's pretty easy to say, I don't think that's 4th best. I think partner's just trying to defend passively here, so. But I do want to at least mention the 2 key, and I think I'm not going to put up the full hand, but we will talk about it because this will come into play on our hands, so we'll still get a chance to talk about it just outside of lecture. 2 key situations where suit preference comes into play, and in both cases, it's for defending is when you're defending a suit contract. This is the first, singleton and dummy. So let's say your partner leads ace from ace king, and a singleton in that suit shows up in the dummy. Well, does it do us much good to give attitude or count signal under the ace like we would in most other situations? No, right? Because we know what's going on. If partner continues to suit, they're going to rough and dummy. We're probably not going anywhere, right? We're just spinning our wheels. That's not to say that we don't sometimes want to just go ahead and make them rough. Sometimes that's a good approach to the defense. And the other situation is when you are giving a rough to partner. Like you can tell partner's trying for a rough while you are giving the rough, the card that you play on the trick where partner is going to trump is going to direct which suit partners should play after they get their ruff. In the case of the singleton and dummy, the card that you play is a suit preference signal. And so what we're looking at here in suit preference situation in there. So what we're doing in these suit preference situations is we are eliminating two suits, right? We're eliminating the trump suit, and we're eliminating the suit that has already been led where there's no future. And so your objective here is, of the two suits that remain, you want to try and get partner to make the best switch. So partner leads ace of diamonds, singleton diamond shows up in dummy, you know they'd be roughing another diamond. The card you play under partner's ace of diamonds is going to help decide, okay, or declare, excuse me, your partner on defense, should I switch to a heart or should I switch to a club? Maybe the dummy will be telling, maybe it won't. Maybe dummy will have one suit that is really strong and another that is weak. But maybe partner won't have such an easy decision. And so you can provide some guidance. And so again, you want to signal as clearly as you feel like you could afford. And so if you drop an 8 or a 9 or a 7 under partner's ace, hopefully partner's going to switch to a heart at trick 2, right? Whereas if you play a deuce or a 3 or a 4,